16 years old. She becomes the youngest artist to have the year-end number one Billboard 200 album, When We All Fell Asleep, Where Do We Go, launched at the number one, the weekly top 200 chart, dated April 13, 2019, logged 3 weeks atop the list, and spent the rest of the year at the chart year somewhere in the top 10. Taylor Swift turned 20 December 13th, 2009. At the same year, Fearless was tops, and 2 decades earlier, Bobby Brown was 20 when Don't Be Cruel reigned in 1989. Taylor Swift was actually born that year, fun fact. Alright, so that's Billie Eilish, top new artist of 2019. Post Malone was the top artist, period. He's not new. Obviously the number one song on Billboard is Old Town Road, the song that defined the spring and summer. Definitely the song of summer, for sure. Also, we talked about it. We are doing this year in review show actually here from Puerto Rico. So, we'll talk about the year in Latin charts. Bad Bunny is the year's top artist, owning the top album and song on these charts. Has been in yet another year when the indomitable urban genre sustained its commanding explosion. In turn, the 2019 year-end top Latin charts is primarily governed by reggaeton and trap artists, with 8 of its top 10 acts being powerhouses in the format, and only one female contender among a male-dominated list. Well, Bad Bunny leads at number one. Ozuna takes the runner-up slot, and J Balvin, no surprise, bringing home his third-place trophy. Probably the people who have been the most well-known in mainland America and around the world, so they've had breakout hits, done stuff with popular American artists that could have something to do with it. Not to dismiss the genre in any way, but I'm noticing a pattern. So only 2 other acts belonging to different genres claim a spot in the top ranking. The tropical and regional Mexican holds the reins as Romeo Santos ends up at number 5, and Banda Sino Los MS de Sergio Lizarraga, don't know who that is, occupies the number 10 spot. So, this year ends a significant lack of female representation, unfortunately, on the top year-end top Latin artist tally, with the gender gap growing as only 6 female acts securing the spot on the 50 deep lists. Male acts leave space for only 6 women, 5 of whom are established acts, including the late Selena at number 19. And a surprise appearance by the only newcomer on the list, singer-songwriter Rosalía. The Spaniard has steadily populated the Latin charts, captivating the industry with her flamenco genre, bending sonority, and stylistic musical collision make the 26-year-old a trailblazer in the genre. Rosalía with an incredible year, so looking to see more cool stuff from that genre for her in 2019. My personal favorite album this year was Igor. Yeah, here you go. I'll offer my take at some point, right? And my personal favorite song made this year. My favorite song, well, judging anyway by my top songs list, the songs I've listened to most this year, would have to be off the same album, Gone, Thank You. One of the things it's the song I've listened to most that was released this year, which is actually pretty far down the list of the songs. Alright, that's our year in review in music. We have one more category, and then we've covered all of 2019. I don't remember. 2, 3, go. We are talking about, folks, The Great Escape. I don't know. The point is, we are going to be talking about sports for our final year in review segment here. We are almost through covering the entire year as we take a look back at the most controversial sports stories of the year, with stories ranging from the politics surrounding sports to off-the-field conflicts to literally on-field fights. Oftentimes, bigger sports stories can have a way of bleeding into everyday culture, people taking sides, people having opinions on major sports stories. Here are some of the biggest ones, including, I remember, this made me mad. The referees in the NFC Championship game earlier this year between the Saints and the Rams missing a blatant pass interference call during the NFC Championship. Late in the fourth quarter of the NFC Championship, the game tied at 20. Rams cornerback Nikel Robbie Coleman committed a pretty obvious pass interference play when he hit the Saints receiver Tommy Lee Lewis as Lewis went up for the catch. The penalty was never called and it resulted in 4th and 10. The Saints kicked a field goal to go up 3. If the penalty had been called, it would have been 1st and 10, giving the Saints a great chance to score a touchdown. Instead, the Rams kicked a game-tying field goal, won in overtime, and went to the Super Bowl. The NFL later admitted it should have been a penalty, leading to the revised pass interference rules that have now only created more confusion in this year. So it was a really big problem. Here's another one that's a little bit more funny, and it was a big meme when it came out. Donald Trump serving fast food to the national champion Clemson football team was very, very funny. I was thinking about, folks, the big boys, they're eating on the hamburgers, folks. So the Clemson football team was set to visit the White House after winning the college football championship. However, the government shutdown meant that the White House could not prepare a meal for the Tigers. Instead, they served a smorgasbord of fast food, including chicken sandwiches and burgers from Wendy's, McDonald's, and Burger King. I had a choice, Trump told the team dinner. Do we have no food for you because we've been shut down, or do we give you some little quick salads the First Lady will make? I said, you guys are into salads, come on. That's my Trump impersonation. Yeah, I think he's got a good point there. I don't think they're going to be into salads. I know if I won the national championship in college football, I would not want a salad from the president. That's something that they're never going to forget for the rest of their lives. That is for sure. The U.S. women's national soccer team sued U.S. soccer for gender discrimination over pay. Shout out to them after winning the World Cup and drawing more eyes to the World Cup, at least in America, than for the men. So, and of course, it is the U.S. soccer that pays women, and the women draw more eyes, so that kind of destroys the whole, it's based on pay, it's based on how much money you bring an argument for those special people out there. In March, 28 members of the U.S. Women's National Team filed a gender discrimination lawsuit alleging that institutionalized gender discrimination was affecting their pay, travel, playing schedule, training, medical treatment, and more. The lawsuit is ongoing, obviously, with the U.S. Women's National Team getting more support after winning the 2019 FIFA World Cup. This was pretty crazy. Patriots owner Robert Kraft was charged with 2 counts of soliciting prostitutes in what I like to call the sex crimes capital of the world, Palm Beach, Florida, or this took place in Jupiter, Florida, which is pretty close to that West Palm Beach area. Robert Kraft was charged with paying for sexual services at Orchids of Asia Day Spa in Jupiter, Florida in March. The charges are related to a months-long investigation by police into human trafficking. Kraft pleaded not guilty and turned down a plea deal offer from prosecutors. Video of the alleged sexual acts have been blocked. It would be very funny if that was released, but I don't know if I could watch it. So this is unfortunate. Zion Williams' shoe this is kind of a funny moment. In the first quarter of a high-profile game between Duke and UNC, their star, Zion Williamson, slipped and ripped through his shoe. Williamson hurt his knee in the process and had to leave the game. The incident not only put a spotlight on Nike and the quality of its shoes, but it also drove a debate about whether Williamson should play again, risking millions after getting hurt before the NBA draft. Williamson actually just returned 5 games later. It wasn't a very big deal. But yeah, now he's on to the Pelicans, and things haven't really been that much better for them in terms of injury-wise at the Pelicans. Speaking of the Pelicans, Anthony Davis requested a trade from them. That was a bigger sports story of the year. Just 2 weeks before the NBA's February 7th trade deadline, Davis requested trade from the Pelicans, and the team continued to flounder. While trade requests are unusual, Davis was criticized for asking with over 2 seasons still left on his contract. The request essentially tanked the Pelicans and LA Lakers' season, as both teams were involved in high-level trade talks involving numerous players, and also created an awkward rift between the league and the Pelicans, as the Pelicans were incentivized not to play Davis due to the NBA draft lottery odds, but the league said the team could not rest a healthy player, and Davis was traded to the Lakers in June. Magic Johnson very awkwardly retired as the Lakers president at the last game of the season. After a turbulent year in the last game of the regular season, Magic Johnson gathered reporters and told them he was retiring as president of the Lakers. He admitted he had not told the Lakers owner Jeanie Buss of his plans and expressed his unhappiness in holding the position, saying he wanted to talk freely about work with other players without violating work with other players without violating NBA tampering rules. Which the funny thing is, he literally just. Most people say that he decided to resign because he just wanted to share his takes. Like, that's literally all it was. Conor McGregor and Khabib Nurmagomedov. Yeah, they had a fight in a feud that really turned pretty ugly on social media several months after their bout at UFC 229. McGregor and Nurmagomedov, or Khabib, I'm just calling him Khabib, exchanged barbs on social media in a feud that turned ugly. McGregor called Khabib's wife a towel and was accused of Islamophobia, and Khabib's manager called McGregor a rapist. McGregor apologized afterward, while the UFC president Dana White criticized both fighters for engaging in a feud that went a step too far. McGregor has not fought since this year at all. So that was a big sports moment. That drew a lot of people's attention and kind of exposed how much of a dirtbag Conor McGregor is. Speaking of the U.S. women's national team, they were accused of running up the score in the Women's World Cup of being too good after they beat Thailand 13-0. Yeah, some said the victory would put a target on their backs, but U.S. women's national team, for their part, pushed back against the criticism and went on to celebrate in mocking fashion in future matches. There was also an interesting feud between Trump and Megan Rapinoe during the World Cup. Megan Rapinoe being a very high-profile fight. I believe she recently endorsed Elizabeth Warren, so it gives her an idea of where her politics are. During the World Cup, Megan Rapinoe said she would not go to the White House if the U.S. won the tournament. She thinks she used an expletive in that exchange to a reporter. Trump responded by saying the team should win before making such comments. The exchange only shined a brighter spotlight and would have been a controversial World Cup run and an ongoing issue, the athletes choosing to attend or not to attend celebrations at the White House with the polarizing president currently in office. The U.S. women's national team has not decided to visit the White House since winning the World Cup. Andrew Luck decided to retire just weeks before the NFL season began this year. During a preseason game just weeks before the regular season kickoff, Luck shockingly retired from the NFL at age 29. He had been battling a leg injury through training camp and was said to be mentally worn down. Colts fans booed Luck on the field as the news came out. He gave an emotional press conference afterward and stayed out of the public eye since retirement. So he leaving millions and millions of dollars on the table after being absolutely screwed by the Colts organization. It's probably one of the more tragic sports stories in recent memory. This is a crazy one. Antonio Brown, he was traded from the Steelers to the Raiders in March. He never suited up for Oakland. He hurt his feet in a cryotherapy chamber, then refused to take the field over a helmet dispute with the NFL during training camp. He then demanded a release from the Raiders in a wild weekend that ended with the Raiders cutting him, and hours later he signed with the Patriots. Brown played one game with the Patriots, and he was then accused of rape in a lawsuit in September, then tried to intimidate another woman who accused him of sexual misconduct in a separate incident, and the Patriots then cut Brown. He's now unsigned. MLB teams are hitting home runs at a record, at historically high rates, with teams continuing to break home run records year after year. The spike in home runs has led to pitchers, fans, and media alike suggesting that baseballs have been designed to encourage more hits. The theory has gained legs as MLB has a stake in Rawlings, the baseball manufacturer, and MLB commissioner Rob Manfred said fans prefer offense and runs in baseball. Interestingly, home runs then fell in the postseason, leading some to wonder whether the balls were switched out. They fell in a big way in the postseason. So the NBA kind of got itself into an international incident with Daryl Morey in October, where the Houston Rockets GM tweeted a message of support for Hong Kong protesters. The tweet inspired an immediate backlash from mainland China. Chinese sponsors immediately dumped the Rockets in the NBA, and the NBA was criticized by politicians, media, and fans for appearing to try to appease China afterward by condemning Morey's issue, bringing up, obviously, the controversial Hong Kong protest. Yeah, so that was a rough look for the city of Houston. Another rough look for the city of Houston. The Houston Astros were caught up in an alleged cheating scandal back from 2017. A report from The Athletic detailed the system that the Houston Astros allegedly used in 2017 to steal signs. The Astros reportedly had a camera in the outfield that led to a TV near the dugout. Coaches and players would look for signs, then hit a garbage can to tip the batters to oncoming off-speed pitches. And it shows you that their averages at home were much, 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 much better than their averages away. And crucially, my Yankees lost in tough Game 7 series. Another big moment this year was the Myles Garrett fight. The NFL's Colin Kaepernick workout kind of took a turn with he was wearing a